Right, okay, now this movie arc has taken such a twist. Now, I'm got no idea now where this movie arc's gonna go, because already it's completely different than the original movie, and it's completely different to the manga version. So, obviously we don't have access to the original script. However, I have no idea now where this is going, because obviously we know this movie arc is meant to take the route of Kishimoto's original script for the movie, but we can imagine a lot of things have actually changed since then, because that script must be years old now, before the Boruto series properly started, before the Jogan was a thing and all of this. So they've obviously made some changes. So this arc now is just completely brand new to me. I have no idea what to expect. I don't think any of us do, unless obviously read the spoilers. But I don't, so I just want to say straight up that this arc, literally, out of all movie anime adaptation arcs I've seen, Boruto's current arc is one of, if not the best reiteration of a movie arc I have seen yet. And before we get into the episode review, you've probably already noticed we've got a new little friend here. So everyone say hello to our new little friend. Basically, I want you guys to let me know if you don't mind the mic being here. I feel like it's better sound quality, I'm hoping, because I've had to get a new mic because my old one broke. So let me know if you don't mind the mic here, if it sounds funny, or if it's just in the way of the video or something. Let me know, and I can find somewhere else to put it, probably. But without further ado, let's get into that episode review. Now then, episode 60 of Boruto continued on with the greatness that this arc is offering to us. Now, I admit, this is my opinion, I feel like the arc started off incredibly. However, I do think there was a little dip, like around the start of the tuning exams, the first couple of rounds. I wasn't a huge fan of them. They weren't bad, but they weren't anything special. But I think ever since episode 58, since episode 58, that's where it got good again. So episode 58, 59, and now 60 have carried on from where the start of the arc left off, and have been carried on with the greatness. Now then, first of all, we need to go into the Sarada versus Araya fight, because obviously it started straight away. There was no funny business, straight into that fight. Now, I really appreciated the thing right at the very start, where Sarada was talking to Inoshikucho and Boruto, and I think Mitsuki was there as well. I appreciate that, and she was so full of confidence. She was like, "Listen, I'm gonna be the Hokage. What do you want about now?" Obviously, that is her inner Sasuke coming out, because we all know how cocky and well, not necessarily cocky, but just right Sasuke was. He knew how strong he was, just like Sarada. She knows she's immensely powerful, and that she's going to become the Hokage. The girl said it herself. So, straight into the Sarada versus Araya fight. Now, what did I think of this fight? Well, first of all, the animation started off a little bit choppy. I was like, is that just me, or does that animation look a little bit not too great? But that was only for a minute or so, maybe even less than that. So after that, the animation was flawless. It was really well animated episode, actually. So Sarada versus Araya. Straight away, Araya was just charging in there like a complete badass, and we got to see the Sharingan again. Now, for a split second, there was a moment. I think it was when Sarada was trying to put him under a genjutsu. I thought for a second, I was like, whoa, because I like zoomed into her eyes. There was suspense, slow motion. I was like, is she about to awaken the second Tomoe? Or however you say it. I was like, no way, right? So for a split second, I genuinely expected that to happen. I was about to go absolutely nuts. But no, she tried to put Araya under a genjutsu, and it didn't work. And that's when everyone was starting to be like, yo, is this guy human? How did he not go under a genjutsu? Especially when it's his first time coming up against the Sharingan. Sarada even said herself that a first-time newcomer against the Sharingan, and he dodged a Genjutsu like that. That's unheard of. However, when she had her Sharingan activated, she noticed that actually Araya was connected to some chakra threads. Now, I'm going to hold my hand up right here. I was a little bit let down with Araya. Okay? This might just be me, but I'm personally not a huge fan of puppets. I think they can be cool, but at the same time, I feel like, I don't know, there's just something about the puppets. I'm not sure what it was. I think maybe it's because the user's fighting and is not necessarily a threat on them. It's their puppets getting there. I don't know, but I'm not a massive puppet fan. In the movie, I loved Shinki's puppet because I don't know what it was about Shinki's puppet. It's probably just the fact that it's a complete badass design and we know Shinki doesn't just rely on a puppet. I'm not saying Araya just relies on a puppet, but so far that's how it seems. So that's another thing. Why is Shinki not used his puppet? Because his puppet was badass. It was in the movie. It was in the manga. Where is his puppet? We haven't seen it at all yet. We didn't see it in this episode. The preview makes it seem like we're not going to see it in the next episode. All I want to say is I just hope they've not took away Shinki's puppet to make Araya the puppet master, because that would be a little bit... yeah. So, like I said, she found out that Araya was actually using a puppet. He was puppeteering himself. So he made an identical clone type thing of him that could speak. It was a bit weird. He's a very good puppet master when you think about it, actually, to do that. There was a bit when actually he was found out to be using a puppet that we got to see Kankuro, and he was like, oh yeah, oh, was that me that taught him that? So that's quite cool. Originally, I presumed Shinki trained under Kankuro because obviously he used a puppet, but maybe now it's Araya. I don't know. I just hope Shinki's also got his puppet. Anyway, obviously, Araya was found out, and then after there, my view on him as a character kind of plummeted. I do think he's still a cool character. However, he went from having this badass voice to having the voice which he had when we first... Well, I say when we first heard him before. When we first saw him before they got onto the train to the tuning exam, we only heard him. He had a little bit of a high-pitched voice. And now we see him now. He doesn't have the deep voice he had at the beginning of the fight. He's very similar to Metal Lee, actually. He was 100% nervous. He crumbled under the idea of everybody staring at him, and that ultimately caused him to lose the fight. Now, he also had, obviously, a weapon in real life on his back, so I was kind of hoping that maybe, like, he found out his puppet got... he was found out he was using a puppet. He got nervous. I was hoping then he'd just kind of jump into the arena and think, like, right, I'll do it myself now. But he didn't. He tried to use his puppet once more. And then Sarada unleashes, out of nowhere, may I add, a fireball jutsu, which I didn't even know she learned. And just saying really quickly, now I don't know what to expect to happen after this arc, because I don't think it's going to jump straight into the manga stuff. I just don't. I originally thought we'd get the novels, but if I'm not mistaken, one of the novels is actually Sasuke teaching Sarada the fireball jutsu. I'm not too sure. Maybe I've not read the novels. I'm just going off the synopsis and what people who have read the novels have said. So maybe they're gonna change that, or maybe the novel wasn't Sasuke teaching Sarada how to do the fireball jutsu, because she did say that she can only use it when the target is directly in front of her. She's not very good with the fire style fireball jutsu just yet. So maybe either the novel was like that in the first place, or they're going to change the novel slightly so it's not Sasuke teaching her the fireball jutsu, it's Sasuke teaching her how to perfect the fireball jutsu. Maybe it'll be something a bit more along those lines. Anyway, after that, the fight was finished. His puppet was completely burned to a crisp, and Sarada was the winner. And then Araya, it's like I said just before, a bit of a letdown. I thought the fight was good. However, I thought Araya was going to be like this insane badass. I thought he was going to have some sort of like cool Keke Genkai. I thought we'd get to see his face. all that type of stuff, but it doesn't bother me too much. It was an okay fight, and I'm just glad that the fight after it was fantastic. Obviously, you all know which fight I'm on about, and that is Shinki versus Mitsuki. I'd argue the two strongest genin around in the Chunin exam right now. You might be able to argue with the fact that Boruto's stronger. I'm not too sure. But regardless of who's stronger, this was a fight between two powerhouses of genin. Now, there was a slight little bit, like a frame or so. I'll probably put it on the screen, which it made me laugh. Obviously, it was a mistake, but there was a bit where you actually see Shinki wearing a leaf headband for whatever reason. I just thought that was something cool to point out. I don't know if you noticed that. If you did, leave a like on the video. If you didn't, leave a like on the video. But yeah, so that was a bit of a mistake, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I thought it was quite funny. Anyway, I just don't know where to start with this fight. Basically, Shinki was again coming up with some interesting dialogue about parents. He's very big on these parenting quotes, isn't he? He likes talking about other people's parents. So he's talking about Mitsuki's parent, and he says something like, I can't remember what it was. Like, my father taught me all these jutsu. Like, he taught me how to perfect this jutsu, something like that. And he's like, I suppose you wouldn't know about that. I think, hinting at the fact that I think somehow Mitsuki knows Orochimaru created Mitsuki. I mean, Shinki knows. I don't know. That's the kind of vibe I was getting from that. I'm not too sure. Maybe I'm reading too much into it or I misunderstood. Let me know if you know the actual reasoning behind why he said that. But again, more deep and interesting. Not deep, not that interesting, but some cool quotes from Shinki again regarding parenting and his views on Mitsuki. But enough of all that, getting into the fight now. We saw quite a few new techniques in this fight. Basically, one technique which I thought looked and was insane was Mitsuki has this like snake burial jutsu where a ton of snakes come from underground, or like he grabs Shinki from underground and then just pulls him underground, and there's just snakes everywhere. It is such an insane jutsu. However, Shinki's reaction speed was just out of this world. In fact, even Mitsuki picked up on that, saying, you haven't moved your foot at all these exams, and used a clone. So we got to see an iron sand clone, which is quite interesting. But the thing I can't wait to get onto is basically we saw Mitsuki use this snake lightning jutsu, and it got rid of Shinki's iron sand cloak, or at least we think that, but obviously we find out that Shinki actually got rid of his cloak on purpose. But we got to see Shinki in his normal clothes, which was quite cool. I didn't expect to see that. And he actually charged at Mitsuki, and he did something that Gaara never would have done. And now this is what this is meant, because before I was like, he's just a little bit of a Gaara clone. He's not exactly a Gaara clone, but he's very similar in terms of like he just uses his sand, he doesn't do close range combat, none of that. But obviously we know Gaara's like awful at taijutsu. However, Shinki on the other hand has a bit of taijutsu in him, if you could call it that. Basically, he went to charge at Mitsuki and he cloaked his fist in iron sand and just punched the living daylights out of Mitsuki. That was awesome. Genuinely, that was possibly my favourite bit of the episode. I don't know if that's just me, but I personally thought seeing Shinki use some taijutsu was just great, as it really differentiated him from Gaara, which was something I was kind of worried about. I thought a lot of people would be like, oh, he's just a bit of a Gaara clone, but no, he's now cemented himself as his own character, which obviously he was before. But nonetheless, seeing him use taijutsu was A star, 10 out of 10. And then basically a fight ends. Mitsuki saying like, well, no, Shinki is saying like, come on, give me your full strength. I know you've got more in you. Like, Shinki is a bit of a freak. He's very, I can't tell if he's just crazy and he's actually genuinely a bit of a freak, or if he just loves power and fights and he's just a bit of a power hungry guy. I'm not too sure, but basically he was saying that he put some iron sand on Mitsuki when he punched him, and it was stuck to him, and basically would act as a magnet for Shinki's like iron spear, which obviously we know Shinki's got the magnet release Kekkei Genkai, so we got a bit of, we're going to see a little bit of that. However, Mitsuki saying there's no way right now I will be able to beat him without undergoing Sage transformation. And unfortunately, I mean, I didn't expect it regardless. I don't think many of us expected it, but we didn't get to see Shinki Sage mode, but it's fine. Mitsuki gave up. It's the only way I could personally see him losing. I expected him to give up, to be honest. It's the only way I could see him actually lose to Shinki. But after that, Shinki's then saying again, like, damn you, why? And then Mitsuki's going on about because I don't want to cause any trouble to my parents and I want to stay here. It's just Mitsuki. I can't wait for some more Mitsuki and Orochimaru like backstory. Like, what is Orochimaru planning? He's planning something. He's going to be planning something no matter what, and I can't wait to see it. After that was basically the end of the episode. We got a bit of an interaction between Sarada and Sakura when Sakura was healing Sarada's wounds, and then Sarada was saying, can't Dad come home at some point? Why did he come home and rest? And then Sakura's explaining, he's got to be out all the time. Sometimes he comes home late when you're asleep, blah, blah, blah. He's got hard work. And then Sarada says something like, wow, you're brave, Mum. And I don't know, maybe I saw this wrong way, but I thought that was quite a fun little gag of maybe like saying, yo, how do you know Dad's not going to cheat on you? Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me thinking that, but that's the vibe I got. Maybe I completely misread and misinterpreted what that meant, but I was thinking, yo, Sakura, your daughter's saying, yo, careful, Dad's going to cheat on you. But I don't know. Let me know in the comment section what that meant and if I was right, because damn, Sarada. And then we got one last little bit of right at the very end of Sasuke training with Boruto late at night. He's shown Boruto the Chidori, and Boruto's like, teach me, teach me, teach me. A lot like Naruto was when he first saw the Chidori. But then Sasuke's explained, no, you need the Sharingan to be able to do it. Which I don't think is completely true. I think Kakashi said when we originally saw Chidori, he said you got to have like the vision of like the Sharingan or something. So I don't know if maybe Boruto will be able to learn it at some point in the future with his Jogan. I'm not too sure. Personally, I don't think he'll learn it regardless. But nonetheless, we got to see a little bit. I feel like that little bit was a lot of foreshadowing, because I think it's going to foreshadow Boruto learning his own epic lightning style jutsu, possibly forming lightning style with the Rasengan, which obviously is technically the Chidori, because obviously that's what Kakashi tried to do and he failed. That's what made the Chidori, so maybe we'll see that. Also, Sasuke was telling Boruto about a certain man who was power hungry, and he did all this terrible stuff, and then a friend saved him, which obviously Sasuke's talking about, obviously teenage young Sasuke. But obviously Boruto doesn't know that. I can't wait to see his reaction when he actually finds that out at some point in the future. And that's a bit when then Boruto says, don't worry, I've got plenty of fantastic friends. Now, really quick manga spoiler, it's hardly much of a spoiler, but there's a bit, obviously, in the Momoshiki fight where Momoshiki says to Boruto, your blue eye will take away everything, or destroy everything you love, something like that. So that's maybe again a bit of foreshadowing. Boruto saying, don't worry, I've got so many good friends, I'm all good in that department, only for one day maybe he is gonna lose all those good friends. But guys, I'm quickly going to say the preview for next episode. We're going to see Boruto and Sarada teaming up against Shinki, which is going to be quite cool, which also makes me think we'll get this episode of Boruto Sarada versus Shinki, and then the final will be Boruto versus Sarada, and then I think maybe Momoshiki will attack. So, I don't know, I'm starting to think I just dreamt Momoshiki up, because it's been so long since we've seen him. I know it's only been like actually 3-4 episodes after next week, because I don't think we'll see him then either. I'm starting to, like, did I imagine him? Does he exist? It's not actually been that long, but it just feels like a hell of a long time. Like, these guys are gods. The last time we saw them, Momoshiki said something like, oh yeah, we're not too far away from the Nine Tails, like consensus chakra or something like that. Now, these guys are gods. Like, what's taking them so long? Like, they stopping off, doing some shopping, want some food, is the bus late? Like, what's going on? You guys are gods. But regardless, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're not already to become a member of the Senpai Squad, and I'll see you guys in another video. But until then, peace. I'm going to do it with my left hand now, because the mic, it's just weird. I'll see you guys in another video.